sure you're with everybody else. How do you, the way you outperform is to take risks, the right risks, and get rid of the wrong risks.
Keep going.
And building on, it's Rossi, right?
Yeah.
Rossi. So building on what Rossi said, there's good to be celebrated by looking at the numbers and celebrating those. It's a little bit of balance though, right? It's looking at big picture, and then you go look at little picture, and then back to big picture, and you as a leader are helping your team to go back and forth effectively as well between big picture and little picture. And constantly relating that little picture to the big picture.
And yes, and this builds a little bit on what we talked about earlier today as well, as sometimes we have to remember to go back to even shareholders. So we don't always look at the short-term rewards, especially when it comes to our shareholders, but looking at the long-term value. And that's not always something that is, especially for us as CFOs, we often look at quarterly or monthly results, and we focus on that so often. But having to start looking at longer-term results and make sure that that's something that we communicate within our organization, celebrate some of the short-term results, especially the achievements, so that it keeps our teams motivated and engaged, but make sure that we focus on some of our long-term results and keep that focus on the strategy so that we drive that value.
Nice.
Yes, and using those short-term results to either reposition or make different decisions to achieve those long-term results. So if you're doing something really well, what can you do to continue to generate those good results to get to the end result? Or if your results are not coming in as expected or anticipated, what do you need to change to get to that end result?
And Kathy, what I liked about what you said was that it's questions. It's how can you ask questions to get people thinking in a certain way and to change how they're thinking of resources or thinking of big picture just by the questions that you ask. And you ask a what or a how question to get them thinking in a different direction, to engage your team and get their solutions, not just yours.
Help us understand how you didn't see the iceberg. What was it that made it so that you got a floating island sitting right beside you? What was it? Can you explore that?
Because we considered it as the problem and not the solution.
I guess we thought about it earlier, but we were thinking how were we going to attach the ship to it. We thought it was too big for us to attach the ship. I guess we didn't look at it as it was a bluebird or, and we could use it. So we thought, initially that was too big. So we did look at that idea, it came up.
Yeah.
We didn't delve in it enough.
And that's so true in real life situations. Sometimes you have to really make lemonade out of lemons.
Yes.
And seeing something as a problem may not be the right way of seeing it. You may be seeing it as an opportunity.
And we spend about 98% of our time course correcting, right? So here's our strategy, and one day we're off a little bit and we're getting back on, and we're off and we're back on, and getting out of that mode that that's a bad thing and that's a problem, instead of saying, all right, that happened, how do we self-correct or course correct?
And that's a little bit of like focusing on what's wrong versus focusing on what's right. Like really focusing on what could the solution be. Okay, if it's big, how could we use part of it? And someone taking you out of that place where it's a problem and opening it up as a possibility again. Now, as leaders, people look to you. If you don't believe something is possible, they know, don't they? Remember, only 6% of it's words. And we know that you choose your words carefully. That 94% that's communicating, so how could we make it smaller, just says, I don't even believe this idea. I don't believe it's possible for us to even hit this target, to hit this goal. I don't even know why we set it. And everybody in the room goes, good. Thank you. Now I don't have to worry about it either. that iceberg, one of the things that we've learned from this experience is that people have two categories. They have categories for things that cause them problems, and they have categories for things that help them. And as soon as something gets miscategorized,